God damn it. Sometimes I think, yeah, I should have probably done drop shipping, man. What was I thinking? Investing in stock when I could have just drop ship products from China, baby. God damn it. You know what, yeah? I actually wanted to drop ship. If it was my choice, and if the math was mathing, I actually would have done drop shipping. Drop shipping is way easier. Like, you don't need to pay for any upfront inventory. You just need to make sure you have a decent marketing budget to add to run ads, and you're good to go. If you don't know what drop shipping is purely just a fulfillment method. So how it works is you'll build a Shopify website selling products, and essentially you will link it to your drop shipping agent, who you can literally find on Facebook for free, or you can use like these little plugins. But I'd advise just get yourself a drop shipping agent. You can get it on Facebook, just write drop shipping China, you'll find one and you can work with them directly. But essentially all you got to do is look for a product that works, put it on your website, run some ads. Every time you get a sale, you'll send the order to your dropshipping agent, and he or she will ship it to your customer, and you don't need to worry about buying any inventory before you get a sale. However, when you do have inventory, for me for example, you've got to make sure you have enough money for inventory, have money for ads, you have money for storage, all these other things that you don't have to worry about when you're dropshipping. So yeah, obviously I wanted to, however the product I chose was just way too heavy, and when we was doing the maths it just didn't make sense. I wanted to, but my agent was quoting me something crazy, especially with the tariffs in USA for example. It was just way too high, and I just wouldn't make any money. But I really wanted this product to work, and I really, thought it was a great product. And I was like, you know what, Zach, if you really believe in this product and you think you can build a brand around it, just go for it. Just buy a bulk stock, focus on building in the UK, and then you can focus on US. Because of course US is the biggest market. However, I couldn't drop ship it to the USA because of the price, and obviously shipping it to UK from the US, I couldn't as well. It just wouldn't make sense unless I was charging a USA customer like £25 or some stuff like that to get it, and no customer's going to do that, right? So I took the jump and I said, you know what, okay, I can't drop ship it, I'll just get it bulk to the UK and I'll ship it myself, and then later on down the line we'll look into fulfillments in the UK, because obviously the cost of goods will be much cheaper if I was sending it by sea to the UK. Of course there's loads of other factors like shipping time and all this stuff, but it is what it is. That's what I had to work with. Of course, again, if you were drop shipping, you wouldn't have this issue. Well, actually you would do if the product was heavy. So yeah, that's why it is definitely recommended when selling to get something lighter, because that's the main situation I'm in. If my product was a light product, then I would be able to drop ship it, because the main thing that's eating out my margins is the shipping cost based on the weight. To give you an idea, the product weight is around 2.5 kgs, so it's a bloody heavy product. And obviously these shipping agents or drop shipping agents work with their shipping lines, and they charge you per kg, right? And from top of my head, I think it's like $3 per kg or something like that, or $5 per kg. I think it's $5, something like that. So it's just way too pricey. So yeah, definitely better drop shipping lighter products. But again, I've laid my bed, people, so I've got to sleep in it, as they say, or I think that's what they say. But it's fine. I believe in a product, and I will make it work. But I just thought I'd give you an insight. If you are thinking of drop shipping or starting e-commerce and brand, definitely think drop shipping is definitely the best way to go about it. Later on down the line, of course, you can get inventory, but I think if you've got a small budget and you are building a brand, drop shipping is definitely a great way if you don't have much cash flow and capital, and you could probably get the ball rolling way quicker than I can, for example, because I have to spend a few £1,000s up front just on stock. I know this is weird, I'm recommending drop shipping while I'm not doing it myself, but again, people, I picked my product is the product I'm going to work with, however it's 2.5 kg. So anyways, that moves to my next point. What I've been thinking, people, kind of like looking at the conversion rate on the site, seeing how much sales we have and everything, and trying to find obviously ways on how I can increase my conversions but also increase my margins in a way. So if I can increase my margins, then of course I can increase my profits. No, if I can increase my margins, then essentially I could potentially I can decrease my price, for example, while still keeping my margins slightly healthy. So I'm thinking, how am I going to do that? You know, is there any way I can get the product costs down? Because again, the overall cost getting it shipped to the UK plus the product cost is making it very expensive. Again, why? Because of the size of the product, right? So this is what I'm thinking. Yeah, my thought process right now is, what if I can get the product lighter? So at the moment it's 2.5 kgs. Even if I ship from every, for example, if I use every, there's a bracket, it goes 1 to 2 and then it goes 2 to 5. So I'm 2.5, so I've just missed it by 500 grams. So even if I got the product material down to 500 grams lighter, I would save what, £2 just on the shipping. So that's one way I'm thinking of reducing my cost. Yeah, again as well, if I reduce the product by 500, even on 100 units, that's another 50 kg that I would save on shipping costs, that, you know, obviously I put into my margins, you know, to get my overall final cost when the products get to the UK. So even that, an extra 50 kg you know, would drop down my product cost overall down again, maybe to another £2. So we might already be down to like £4 of product costs, right? So that's still a massive difference, right? And that can essentially allow me to potentially test different offers to even get the product cheaper. Obviously it's not about getting it cheaper, but you get what I mean. Like, the more margins we have to play with, the better it is for us, right? So that's one way of doing it, because one, again, we can get the product cost down, we can get the shipping cost down overall, and if it would be is basically the difference between 500 grams, for example, then, you know what I'm saying, that can make a massive difference, bro. So that's one thing I'm thinking about now, is can I get the same product quality but by changing the material slightly? So I don't want to change the material completely, because the product itself contains 2 different types of material, and I think at the moment right now it's about maybe 70-30. So if I could maybe get it, I don't know, 80-20 or even 70-30, where 70 the lighter part of the material and 30 the heavier part of material, then of course that will drop the weight, you know, probably will drop it down to 500. That's my thought process. So anyways, I don't know if that's giving you kind of idea, but that's kind of like what I'm thinking of doing. So I'm now speaking to my supplier and I'm asking him, are you able to get the product that, you know, that they're manufacturing for me lighter at this kind of like weight target? Obviously the lighter the better, but yeah, just to see what they're working with. And they said obviously he's obviously going to go back and see if he can. The next thing I was thinking of doing, and this is another thing, is, so bear in mind, yeah, the product I'm selling, I'm not reinventing the wheel, right? This product, the concept's been proven in the US market and other markets. I've just seen a gap where I'm like, you know what, why don't I take a product that works and take it to the UK market? Yeah, it's not the biggest market, but however, one, there's a gap where I could potentially push through and brand myself as the leading brand for that particular design of product in my market and focus on that instead of trying to just tackle USA for now. Do you get what I mean? Where I can still take a piece of that market. That's my thought process, and that's obviously based on the economic side of things, as we said when we talk about the weight of the product, the cost of it getting to the UK as well. So, you know, understanding that it will just cost way too more than to send it to the USA than it would in the UK because of the again, the tariff prices is just way higher to ship to the USA than it would even if I thought about drop shipping to the UK. So I hope I'm not confusing anyone, but so to say all of that to say that again, I'm not reinventing the wheel. So when I start looking at my competitors again, I'm realizing that there's something. It's not that I've missed out, but basically they've got two different variations of the product. They're basically bundles, but one is a larger bundle than the other. I focused on the larger bundle because obviously that's the one with the highest order value, right? So it's the one that's more expensive. So I focused on just packaging that and thinking, okay, because it's a bigger bundle, people are more likely to convert with that. However, my competitor that I'm kind of working off of has a smaller bundle. Yes, I know they're making a lot of money, but I actually don't know which one is making the most money for them, right? Is it the smaller bundle or is it the bigger bundle? And here I am with just my bigger bundle, and I'm just thinking, like, Zach, it might be worth having the small bundle as another offer as well. Because one, when you've got a smaller offer and a bigger offer, if the bigger offer is just slightly more expensive than the smaller offer, people are gonna naturally want to go for the bigger offer anyway, because they're like, oh, it's only £5 or £10 more, but I'm gonna get all of this value instead. Do you get what I mean? Like, it's kind of psychologically, it's also a way to kind of entice people to buy, because they're like, well, if I pay only £10 more, you know, I'm gonna get this extra that, you know, and you can price anchor it where it's like £30 on its own, right? But if you get this additional, it's going to cost you £10 more. Do you know what I mean? Because then, one, at least when we are getting traffic to our site, they've got the option to get the cheaper version and the more expensive version. But obviously I've done all my margins based on the more expensive bundle version, right? However, I'm like, you know what, let me go back to my supplier now as well and see. Sorry, people are cut out. But just to finish off, I'm thinking now I'm going back now to my supplier, and I want to figure out how much it would cost for the smaller bundle comparison to obviously what I'm paying for the bigger bundle, and to see how much that would cost, because one, obviously it'll be smaller, so it'll be lighter, so that will of course decrease my shipping cost and my product cost, because it's a smaller bundle, so there's less components. So then finding out how much that costs, the weight, and overall how much it will cost to get me to the UK, because then essentially I can then sell that as a separate SKU. So then at least when any traffic does come to my site, one, they've got the option to buy the cheaper one or the more expensive one. Two, now I think it would help with conversions, because again, it will almost increase the value of the bigger one when they compare it to the smaller one, because of the offer, right? So for example, let's say something is, I don't know, let's say something is 30 quid or 45, right? But it would be but you've anchored it where, like, normally it would be almost £60 individually, but you pay £15 more and you get all of this. Do you get what I mean? People are going to be more inclined to buy the bigger one, because it increases the perceived value, right, of the bigger bundle comparison to the smaller one. Because a lot of marketers will be pushing advertisement to their product page, hoping, I guess, that they always convert for the larger one. However, if they don't, they'll be obviously happy to take whatever is on the table, right? If it's the small one, it's the small one, right? But of course, like, you want to increase your order value, because the higher your order value is, the more money you can spend on advertisement, right? That's just how it goes. So I'm just thinking, yeah, like, go back to my supplier, find out. I'm sure he can do it, of course, but now it would be again, we'd have to look at the economic side of things. Like, okay, how much now is it for the smaller bundle? How much is the weight? Then obviously speak to my shipping agent to find out based on that weight, to get an overall of what the product costs, and then to compare that based on obviously the pricing we would put on the site for, right, to see if we still got like a clean amount of margins to work with. But I think that might be something worth going forward. Of course, now we'll be introducing essentially a new SKU, right? Another bundle that I would now have to manage, right? In the sense where, because essentially the bundle I have now, the smaller one would have less components. So I was thinking I could start creating a bundle now on my site, but then it would be me individually taking components out. And then what will happen is I'll just have loose components, right? That really, these particular components, they don't sell on their own, really. They won't. And so it would be better for me to order separate bundles, and I know my pricings for each one of them, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's my thought process. Leave a comment, let me know what you think. But I think that could help with conversions. That will decrease the shipping weight, of course, but I don't know if it will increase the whole, decrease, should I say, the whole product cost in the whole once we get all the numbers. But it's definitely worth having that as a down offer, should we say, or like the lower side offer, because at least any traffic we have, if they do feel like they're not willing to pay for the higher price, we can at least convert them on the lower price, if that makes sense, you know? Because again, based on the competitors' data, I can't exactly see which exact product sells the most, right? So if you are going to kind of build off someone's framework, it's better to like have like a clearer idea. Of course, we're not ripping it off completely. We're obviously getting inspiration, because obviously we're not reinventing the wheel. But anyways, people, I hope that's made sense. But yeah, if you're interested in e-commerce stuff and you're also trying to start a new brand, if it's dropshipping or stock based, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I basically document everything I'm learning, any learning curves, my highs, my lows. I'm very transparent and authentic with what I'm doing. So yeah, if you want to watch someone, you know what I mean, who's starting it from zero, maybe you're in a 9-to-5 and you might not have much cash flow, much capital, and you're on the fence, like, the whole idea of this channel is to help inspire, motivate, and push other people that are in the same position as me to start their own online business, if it's e-com, whatever it is, so that they can finally break out the 9-to-5 and be financially free and be financially independent for themselves. So if it's something you're into, feel free to subscribe, give me a like and comment, tell me your thoughts, because it really helps my channel. And yeah, I look forward to see you lot in the next one. Peace.